So here we have a basic scene with everything set up in 3D, and you can see that I have one light on, and I just have it set to spotlight, and if I hit A twice on the keyboard, you can bring down the attributes of your light. So right now, looking at the intensity here, I can drag it up and make it more intense. It's set to spotlight. I can change the color of my light by selecting the color from the color picker, and I can make it any kind of mood this way. Since it's a spotlight, I have the cone option. Other lights probably won't have that, as well as the cone feather. I could tell to cast shadows, I could tell not to cast shadows. Now, even though it's on, you notice there's no shadows being cast. I need to hit A twice on my keyboard when I'm selecting my object, and it will bring up the attributes on my object. And you notice that the cast shadows was off. Once I turn it on, you can see now that I have shadows being casted from that character. And I can make it softer by selecting the shadow diffusion, or I can take down some of the darkness by taking down the shadow darkness value. So this way, if I don't want it to be so dark, I can turn those down. So I can also tell my object to not accept the lights or not to accept shadows. If I look at the attributes for my background wall here, if I turn off the shadow, even though the lights are emitting shadows, I can tell this object not to accept the shadow. So you can manipulate a lot of the attributes within our character. Right now I can even turn off the accept lights. So this way, if I say I have a color that I want the character to still remain, by turning off accept lights, it'll still cast a shadow and still be lit, but it won't be affected by the light with its color value. So by doing that, it's the same flat color that I created in Illustrator. But in this scene, if I turn it back on, you can see it's a little bit darker and it's actually being affected by the light. So here's a few examples of the different types of lights that there are in After Effects. This is the exact same scene, exact same light settings. I just turned the light types to different ones. So you can see the different effects that you can get from different lights. And each one has its own advantage and usefulness in After Effects. So I'm going to go to Layer, New Light. And I want to create a spotlight, so I'm going to change the type to spot. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to move the light around into the position. I want to set the light so this way it's kind of very noiresque. I want it to look very dark, very contrasty. I want the background to kind of go off into a shadow. And I want this character to look kind of, looks like he's in a kind of little shady of area. Maybe he's a shady character himself. I'm just going to play around with just the different lighting settings and the placement of it until I get the right length, making sure that my shadows are turned on, and I'm going to feather out some of the cone angle here. And there you go. That is a conclusion of how to light a scene in After Effects. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and in the next one I'll show you how to set up cameras.